to January and Mary Onuoha? Well, we had a lovely nurse who'd been in this country for well over 20 years. She'd been working on the front line in nursing. She loved to wear her cross. She'd never taken off her cross. She actually worked at the senior level. She worked prepping people for operations. There was a change of management, and she was asked specifically to remove her cross. She refused to remove her cross. They even asked her to remove her cross within a situation where somebody was actually going into theatre. She was all completely dressed in all the gear for the operation. So even at that point, there was a particular manager that was really wanting this cross removed. We had at the time many images, many photographs, even on the official publicizing material for the hospital, to show nurses and doctors indeed wearing other religious apparel, but also jewelry. She was put. Then there was essentially a long battle over. It spanned 2 years or so, where she was put on administrative duties, where she was sidelined, where we kept on trying to restore her back to the front line of nursing. So that's the story of Mary Onuoha. But in the end, we received the judgment last January, having had the trial in the autumn. And it was found that she had been directly discriminated against as a result of being asked. Well, she wasn't forced to take off the cross because she refused to take off the cross. But they found that that had been a case of direct discrimination against her. So that is a massive win. And also, can we just also remember that the truth about this is that issues around the cross have been going on for many, many years. We can go right back to the middle, 2004, 2005, the case of Nadia Awida and British Airways. And the way in which she, again, as an assistant, an air steward, dealing with the public, front-facing with the public as they checked in, she was working really hard, loving that job, but they asked her to remove her cross and said that the cross was not a Christian symbol. And some of you remember those extraordinary headlines of kind of our national airline saying that the cross wasn't a Christian symbol. And then the case of
government. And the government.
And the government. Well, indeed, the government submitted at the European Court of Human Rights in 2013, specifically in the case of Nadia Awida, but also the case of Shirley Chaplin, another nurse, a beautiful, quiet lady from Exeter, who again had worn her cross for almost 30 years and worked in nursing. She was suddenly asked to remove her cross. The government submitted that the cross was not a Christian symbol, that it was a piece of jewelry, and that her freedom of religion was her freedom to resign. I'm really pleased that 20 years on, in effect, and that's how long it takes. But imagine if we hadn't stood 20 years on, no one's really arguing anymore in the courts. Well, they might try again, but they weren't arguing in the same way in the case of Mary Onuoha that the cross was not a Christian symbol. And now we also had a ruling that essentially it's a manifestation of faith. The cross and its symbolic value to Christians is a manifestation of faith. That's really important. And there is manifest faith in that way.
Obviously, not all Christians wear a cross visibly, or these things, but the important thing is that Christians don't have to stop being Christians when they enter the workplace. And we want to keep people able to shine the light of Christ brightly in all those situations.